welcome to the second episode of the Durable Aspirant. First of all, let me thank you for the great feedback that you gave me about episode 1. So in episode 2, we are going to be talking about something that we spend the larger part of our youth doing, and that is studying. All of us have spent hours, months, years even, flipping through pages of textbooks, trying to memorize, remember stuff, so we can finally write the exam and fulfill our parents' wishes by settling down in life. Now, while we're given a lot of information and loads of classes on what to learn, we get very little information at all on how to learn. No teacher comes before us and says, okay guys, there's so much that you have to learn. You have to learn physics and chemistry and maths and history and geography and biology. Here's how you should do it. With no such guidance whatsoever, we all develop our own techniques for learning. Some of us underline stuff, some of us make notes, some of us read repeatedly and try to mug stuff up, some of us try to read and recall, but none of us are really told that what is scientifically the most effective way of studying. Now imagine if we took this same approach to a sport, like say my favorite sport, that's swimming. This would be like taking kids to a swimming pool, pointing to the pool in front of them and telling them, okay kids, here's what you have to do. You have to jump into the water, you have to float, and then move forward while you float. Now go ahead and figure this out for yourself. But no, that's not what happens. What does happen is that there is a coach. The coach tells you how to float, explains to you that when you take a deep breath in and keep the breath in your lungs, you tend to float. When you let your breath out, you tend to drown. If you want to move forward, this is how you should move your hands. If you want to move faster, this is how you move your feet. This is how you breathe. Now, when all these instructions are taken together and then we practice them repeatedly, we learn how to swim. Another very important thing that we need to remember is that the directions that our coach is giving us are not based on his personal experience alone. These are directions that are derived from scientific research on swimming, from scientific research on how the human body can be made to move very fast through the water. In the absence of these instructions, we would not be able to swim effectively. Now let us take the same approach towards studying and ask, how do we study? What is the most effective way of studying? I just told you 4 ways that some of us underline, some of us make notes, some of us repeatedly read, and some of us recall. Now, neuroscience has revealed that the best way to remember and retain information is by subjecting ourselves to a test. Every time we test ourselves on something, we get better on it. Now, think of an experience from your childhood. Let me just take you back to class. Let's say that you are in the middle of a class and your teacher asked you to stand up and answer what is Newton's second law. Or she asked you which equation represents Newton's second law. And you start thinking. You think, okay, there's an F, there's an M, and there's an A. Is it F is equal to MA? Is it M is equal to FA? Is it F to the power of M is equal to A? And you say that the answer is F is equal to M to the power of A. At that point, your teacher corrects you and tells you, no, you're wrong. The right answer is F is equal to MA. Now, when you get that information, you and I both know that you're not about to forget that very easily. That's because it has come out as a consequence of a test. In conclusion, testing is the best way to remember things. Now, which of the 4 methods that we just talked about most closely resembles a test? Underlining? No. Repeated reading and mugging? No. Making notes? No. It's recall. The act of reading a page or a paragraph and then closing the textbook and then repeating to ourselves what we just learned is what most closely resembles a test and has been proved to be the most effective way of learning. Now, research has shown that every time you try to read and recall, you get better at reading and recalling. Now, let us ask ourselves another question. How should you pace your learning? Here's how. First of all, you need to focus. Now, if we need to focus, we have to first identify our biggest distraction. Each one of us could have our own distractions. My biggest distraction, for instance, is the mobile phone. So identify your distraction and then ensure that when you are learning, your distraction is not in the same room as you. As simple as that. If your distraction is a television set, don't sit and learn in the same room where your TV is. If your distraction is your pet dog or your pet cat, ensure that your dog or cat is not in the same room where you're studying. So point number 1, identify your distraction and then get rid of it. Point number 2 is to now focus. Focus for a period of 25 minutes. Set a timer and focus for a period of 25 minutes. For those 25 minutes, try to engage with the material as seriously as you can. And then after that, take a 5-minute break. During those 5 minutes where you're taking a break, do whatever it is that you feel like doing. You feel like browsing social media, go ahead and do it. You feel like flipping channels, go ahead and do that. You feel like browsing Netflix, go ahead and do that, but only for 5 minutes. Okay? And then after that, go back to focused study for 25 minutes and then take a break for 5 minutes. Now, why do you need this period of focus and a period of relaxation? The reason you need this is, again, science has revealed that we learn in 2 modes. One is called the focus mode and one is called the diffuse mode. And these 2 modes together help us learn very effectively. So what is the focus mode? A focus mode is something that you can compare with, say, injecting knowledge into yourself. And what is the diffuse mode? The diffuse mode is the time that you give for that knowledge to spread all over your brain and make connections with other knowledge that is related to what you just learned. So for example, if I am learning about Newton's second law, I'll be focusing and reading about Newton's second law. At that point of time, I'm injecting knowledge into my mind. When I take a break for 5 minutes, Newton's second law goes to different parts of my brain and tries to catch experiences from my life which could be related to this law. So when you do these 2 things together, you become a much more effective learner. Now this technique of 25 minutes of focus and 5 minutes of relaxation is called the Pomodoro technique. And one 25 plus 5 segment is called one Pomodoro. The advantage of learning in this 25 plus 5, that is in this 30-minute batch, is that based on how much time you have during the day, you can decide how many Pomodoros you want to do. So if you have a free day coming up, tell yourself that, okay, today I will do 5 Pomodoros. So that would be 5 sessions of 25 minutes of focus and 5 minutes of relaxation. If you have a very busy day coming up, you can tell yourself that, okay, I'm going to do at least 1 Pomodoro before I sleep. Now, if you want to know more about this, just follow a link that is given in the description here. There's a TEDx talk by Dr Barbara Oakley. You can listen to that talk and you'll get an idea about what I was talking about here. And if you're really interested in this subject, I would suggest you take a small course on coursera.com. Go to that website. I'll provide the link in the description as well. And you can do a 1-month-long course on learning how to learn by Dr Barbara Oakley. And with that, I'm bringing this second podcast to a close. So if you liked hearing me talk about this, please leave a comment. And if you didn't like hearing me talk about this and want me to talk about something else, please leave a comment. In any case, I'm very grateful to you for reaching this far and listening to this podcast. That brings me to the end of episode 2 of the Durable Aspirant. Hopefully, I'll come back to you with something new in the 3rd episode. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.